Extreme Demon. Damn, Alex Payne is such a gamer, dude. Beating extreme demons before they're even a thing. Look, he replaced an E with a 3. That way you know he's legit. Anyway, it seems Zenthic Alpha and the Scooby Gang struck gold with this level because, I mean, just look at these numbers. And so it kicked off an entire series of 5 levels? 6? Who knows? Anyway, let's talk about them. Okay, so what is a Sonic level anyway? It's not like 9 Circles levels, which have a very distinct aesthetic, which is to say they all copy the same exact template. The Sonic series is a little more loosely defined when it comes to its visual identity, but I think that works to its benefit, because it also means it didn't spawn a bajillion carbon copies. When it comes to theming though, speed is clearly of paramount importance. Obviously, right? I don't think I have to elaborate on my reasoning here. So, Supersonic is very much an old school 1.9 level. Its design is very simple, bare bones even in some parts. Supersonic is not remotely an outstanding level by today's standards, but there are a few things about it that I do think earn it some merit. For starters, it starts you off in the ship game mode. Not a lot of levels change the default beginning cube, so this kind of gives the level a unique flair, if only a little bit. It's kind of like how Ditched Machine starts you as the ball, although that level is generally remembered for different reasons, so it's really kind of minor. Still, it does feel appropriate to start the level flying off at high speeds. It gives the level an immediate punch, immediately demanding your attention, as electronic music blasts in your ears right out the gate. On top of that, I really like Daddy Pro's part in this level. Naturally, I'm a fan of the use of player colors in his part, but he even put Luigi in it, look at that. Anyway, his part also does a good job relieving some of the tension in this level. Turns out that going at Mach 11 all of the time is a recipe for disaster. You need a little downtime to contrast with the wicked intensity of the rest of the level. Especially considering that right after this are some of the most frantic and hardest parts. Frankly, having a little downtime sometimes in the form of an easier part is just good level design. Like in Electrodynamics, the easy part in the middle does such a great job at building suspense and anticipation for the really hard part when the drop hits. And I think that would be diminished if the middle part was about as hard as the rest of the level, you know? Man, we're talking about Electrodynamics a lot for a video about the Sonic series. Although I guess we can count Electrodynamics as a Sonic level for the purposes of this video. I mean, might as well, right? Anyway, Supersonic does a great job at its theming, challenging you to take total control of this behemoth of a level, but just barely, as cliche as that sounds. The weakest part of the level is probably Viprin, because, I mean, just look at this. This sucks. God, do I hate playing this too. I'm sorry guys, I know the majority opinion nowadays is that memory gameplay is awesome actually, but I still don't see how what basically amounts to studying for exams is engaging and interesting gameplay. Really now, who likes studying? Even straight A students generally don't do it out of entertainment, but out of obligation. It's a psyop, I tell you. I swear Alkali is paying off major community figures to insidiously promote memory gameplay propaganda, to inoculate the masses from being able to see when they're being bullshitted. Well, I'm here to fight the mainstream narrative, to challenge the established order, and to tear down the institutions of oppression. I'm here to say no. Enough is enough. I swear, this one part in Theory of Everything 2 was the setup to all the damage Geometrical Dominator would ultimately cause to the community. And it's not even a bad part. I actually like this part in ToE 2. The trick here is that the blocks are subtly colored with your player colors, distinguishing real from fake ones. That's clever. I like that. It rewards a keen eye for noticing the pattern. In Supersonic, that aspect of the level is completely scrubbed out. It's like Viprin never even noticed this subtle element of good level design. Or, if he did, decided to throw it out anyway. I mean, who needs good level design, am I right? Let's just make the player guess. You know my favorite prompt in crossword? 7 across. Fucking guess, tongue emoji. Anyway, I think we've gone a little off track. I hope you understand my point though. Ultrasonic is next. I'm not gonna mince words here. Ultrasonic is the best level in the series by a mile. It has a better song, it has better design. The gameplay is hard as balls though. I seriously spent 600 attempts trying to get this freaking swingcopter part down. The whole level is definitely a massive step up from its predecessor. Unlike Supersonic, Ultrasonic actually has build-up at the start of the level. It still starts you in the ship, which feels a little less appropriate now, but I guess it still works. It gives the impression that this will be a staple of the series, but no, this is the last level to do that. Anyway, I think the build-up is great here. It definitely feels tense as you zip through obstacles at high speeds, and especially the small touch in Zentik's part where you slow down for a split second to do a little wiggle adds a lot of flavor. It gives you a little moment to recompose yourself before you tackle the next section, and then the next as the music continues to rise in pitch and intensity before dropping you off at the climax. And what a climax it is! Oh yeah, what a climax. I'm sorry guys, but I don't think the Swingcopter was the right choice here. By its very nature, the Swingcopter is very sluggish to control. Putting it at triple speed doesn't really solve that. Maybe it could have worked later in the level, but for the main drop, it just does not work. It feels like such a letdown after all that build-up. Any other game mode would have worked better, honestly. This is definitely not the most exciting part of the level, even though it definitely should be. It's the drop, the climax. This is where the magic is supposed to happen. I think this is the biggest weakness of Ultrasonic. That and Vibrant's part, which comes right after. The jump rings help a lot to mitigate the monotony of seeing the same block copy and pasted over and over, which also helps with the memory, but come on, man. Visually, this part just isn't interesting. It's completely boring. The level is saved, though, by the parts that come after. I like how you keep flying all the way up and down in Invasium's part. It feels super chaotic, which is such a good fit for this frantic part of the song. Right after is Jazer, which is one of my personal favorite parts. I love the pulses in this part. I love how intense it makes the level feel as you keep speeding up until you hit the finale, relieving some of that tension. Then you have Samzar at the end, which I think is a perfect way to close out the level. It's not too difficult compared to the rest of the level, but it's great as a stress test as the level winds down to the end. Oh wait, Zentik, you forgot to finish this block. Here, I'll help you out. Oh, don't worry about it. It's no big deal. But don't do it again. Next is Transonic. We're skipping this one. Not because it was made by a different team, but because there's not really much to talk about here. It uses the same song as Ultrasonic, so it's going to live in its shadow by definition. Also, it's just not very good. Okay. Hypersonic then. Now this is an interesting one because the reception to this level was so bad that Vibrant actually had to leave a comment on the verification video justifying the creative decisions behind this level. And what creative decisions they were. So I understand the desire to go in a new direction, and frankly I think that's an admirable thing to do. But this is not the way to do that. The level is called Hypersonic, and yet it has none of the hectic elements that are essential to the series. There's no sense of speed, none of the excitement, it's boring. A large part of that, of course, is the song choice. Vibrant didn't want to use an F777 song because it would doubtlessly get overused, but Cold Breaks' 10,000 was already used in 3 featured levels when this level was released, and afterwards this song would go on to define early 2.1. Infamously so. Regardless though, overused or not, I don't think this was a fitting song to choose for this level to begin with. It just sounds too goofy. There isn't enough intensity to lend itself to a fast-paced level, and it shows. Besides that, the level is also just really bad. Just to remind you, this is a 2.1 level. For reference, here is Artificial Ascent, a 2.0 level. Here's the Badland. Here's fucking Mechanical Showdown, which is definitely not the cream of the crop, but it still clears Hypersonic at its worst. There were also complaints about the creator lineup, which notably excluded Samzar and G-Boy. To me, this doesn't make or break the level, though. I don't think this is something worth complaining about. I mean, nobody really complained that Daddy Pro didn't make a return for Ultrasonic either, right? It's easy to attribute the flaws of this level to the creator lineup, but I disagree strongly. Honestly, this level is wild to me, because we've all seen these creators before, and they've shown that they can be competent at creating levels if they put their minds to it. But I guess the 2.1 update put a virus in their brain or something. I don't know. Now, being completely fair, Hypersonic does have its highlights, by which I mean one. Terran's part actually holds up pretty well here. It has a unique gimmick where the whole part is slightly tilted, and it isn't so desperate to use all the new objects and features in the update to the detriment of everything else. It's a travesty, this level. And it's a travesty they strive to make up for with their next project, Subsonic. Looks like they forgot to capitalize the B here. There you go. Subsonic is definitely a marked improvement over the previous installment, which frankly isn't saying much, but I mean, at least they managed to capture the vibe of a Sonic level with this one. The song choice for this level, Speedbreaker, makes a ton of sense. It does a lot to make the level feel more tense and high octane. Wait, hold the fuck up. Am I getting a deja vu? Vibrant, what the hell is this? Not only did you put another fucking ball maze, but you almost completely recycled your old part for Hypersonic? Come on, dude, this is beyond shameless. Do you have no brain? Flex those neural pathways for me, man. Come up with something new, for the love of Christmas. I guess Subsonic is fine in the end, but it's not nearly as elegant in execution as Ultrasonic was. For one, there are a few really terrible parts holding it back, particularly Sumzar and Evasium, and I feel like the level doesn't handle the slower parts as well as Ultrasonic either. I guess the moral of the story here is that the Sonic series was best left untouched after Ultrasonic came out, and that level series are just a flawed concept. Are they though? I don't really believe that. It requires a lot more tact and creativity to do a series like this right though. And considering these levels were basically rushed out the door as soon as 2.1 dropped, I don't think these levels were handled with the care and attention they should have. If I had to guess, everybody was way too excited over 2.1 finally coming out to worry about that. We're not done though. There is one man who tried to revitalize the series. One man, after being targeted by the Matrix, had to go into hiding to avoid being eviscerated by the woke mob. It's true what they say, the higher you rise, the more people just want to take you down. Let me teach you a little history about this remarkable individual. You see, Guitar Hero Styles was a well-respected community figure and level creator to such an incredible degree that he landed a sponsorship with Panasonic, the consumer electronics company. All he had to do was make a level advertising their products, the result of which you see in front of you. It was a critically acclaimed masterpiece, of course, and the level was a thundering success. Word spread around the community of his accomplishments, increasing his popularity, as well as Panasonic brand LCD TVs. Guitar had made it. He was making the big bucks now. He had escaped the Matrix. Naturally, this sparked outrage and jealousy from the far left. The left hates anyone successful because of their own impotence, so they are set on taking down anyone more successful than them. It's their brand of equality. Make sure everybody is as miserable and poor as yourself. A narrative painting Advi as a sexual predator who preys on underage girls was quickly whipped up, tarnishing his reputation and ending his sponsorship with Panasonic. Nowadays, Advi is left rooting around dumpsters for food, forced to eat any woke M&Ms he can find to sustain his meager existence. Truly, cancel culture has gone too far. And that covers every single Sonic level. All of them. Didn't miss a single one. Did we learn anything today? Maybe there is something to be said about level series, but what it ultimately comes down to is you should make good levels and not make bad levels. Seems simple enough, but I think more people could stand to take this bit of advice. So yeah, let that be the takeaway of this video. Thanks for watching everybody, and see you next time.